nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you all for coming this evening. We will start with the open forum. This is a time when the board listens to anyone in the audience that would like to come forward to speak on a topic that's not on our agenda. And we have a sign up for that, and we have one person tonight, and it's Lloyd Urbaugh.
District 719 School Board members, Chair Simic, Dr. Salo. My name is Lloyd Urbaugh, and I live in Prior Lake. On September 26th, the city of Savage hosted a community conversation on race. This was a facilitated dialogue to better understand how race plays out in our community. The dialogue was to develop deeper understanding of diversity, culture, and equity, and provide an opportunity for all voices to be heard. The city of Savage invited all of the school districts that serve their community to attend. School District 719 was well represented by board members and staff. The design for the evening was recommended to the city of Savage by their police chief, Randy Sawyer, who had attended a similar conversation in Burnsville. Several of the speakers and group facilitators were from Burnsville. Several people shared opening comments with the group: Chief Sawyer, Booker Hodges, who served briefly as Prior Lake's temporary police chief, and several community facilitators and leaders. Especially powerful to me were comments by two Somali American Muslim high school students who talked about the daily chipping away of their confidence and sense of worth by the comments, slurs, and feelings directed toward them. They did not feel welcomed, but excluded. Then we shifted to small group discussions where we responded to questions and statements. We shared our experiences and listened to the concerns, fears, and frustration shared by others. The evening was a chance to begin a process of listening and learning. As the meeting was being summarized, several people were invited to share their views. During that time, it was helpful that Corinna Lyons stood and introduced herself as our new American Indian Education Coordinator and shared an example of how racism can exist within her own community between those growing up in a city versus those raised on a reservation. A very powerful and helpful ending to the evening was the commit to action with pledges or requests for all of us to undertake today, in a month, in 3 months, and beyond. The focus of the action is specific. Dismantling racism will require our collective efforts and an intense focus on impact rather than intent. There is always something that we can do to make a positive difference. Thanks to the City of Savage for introducing us to this topic. I hope at future meetings you will be able to share your own experiences and your recommendations for next steps for race and equity here in Prior Lake. If we are to make progress, we may want to involve city leaders and other community organizations in this initiative. Thanks for your consideration.
Thank you. Move on to roll call. All are present except for Jonathan and Stacy. And because they are absent, I will need to appoint a clerk and treasurer. Michael, would you be willing to be clerk this evening? Mary, would you be willing to be treasurer? And Melissa, I'm sorry, yes. Okay, thank you for doing that. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So made.
By Enrique, second.
Second.
By Michael, any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That motion carries 4-0. On our consent agenda, these are items that are routine in nature and will be enacted by one motion. On our financials, the only report that's available this evening is the bank reconciliation statement. All other reports will be available at our December 9th meeting. Approval of the school board minutes on October 14th and October 28th, board work session. The personnel items, resignations, terminations, and non-renewals as listed. The candidates for employment and leaves of absence. Also, the 2019-20 organizational chart. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So made.
By Enrique, second.
Second.
By Mary. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 4-0. On to resolution for the acceptance of gifts. We have received donations from Ms. Sazma, sorry, I can't say the name, Prior Lake Rotary, Lens Prior Lake, Charlie's Prior Lake, and Fong's of Prior Lake, and a donation from PLAY, which is Prior Lake Athletics for Youth. This is a sizable donation. We're very grateful for this donation. It's $36,000 for equipment for the Prior Lake Activity Center. They've asked to donate toward that, and we definitely have a need for that, those items. So with that, I'll take a motion to approve the acceptance of gifts.
So made.
By Michael, second.
Second.
By Mary. Any other comments or questions? Jeff, did you have anything else to say?
Just to echo just your thought, Chair Schimmick, is that, we always appreciate all of the donations that come in any shape and form to the district. But given that this donation is directly tied to the bond referendum and rounding out equipment in the activity center, and it is a sizable donation, it's great to acknowledge PLAY. Given the so it's in line with school board policy around donations. That this did come through FLIRP, Finance Facilities Long Range Planning, given that they've asked that it be directed toward equipment. And the recommendation of that committee was to honor the request of PLAY in order to allocate the funds pending board approval to the equipment. In speaking with Russ Reitz, I know there are several other groups that will be bringing forth donations for similar requests, and so those will also go through the Finance Facilities Long Range Planning Committee, and then pending approval or moving forward with that group, will be coming to the December 9th board meeting for review and seeking approval as well. So again, we want to thank our community groups for seeing a need and for identifying ways that they can contribute time, talent, resource to the district to help our students. And so, again, appreciate all donations that come in any shape and form and any amount.
Absolutely.
Just this one's a little different given the amount and the requests that came from this group. So, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Any other comments? Okay, this is a roll call vote. Michael?
Aye.
Aye. Mary?
Aye.
Enrique?
Aye.
That motion carries 4-0. Now we'll move on to, I believe it'll be Lakers Showcase this evening.
Thank you very much. It is Lakers Showcase, and it is so much fun to have a room full of guests this evening who get an opportunity to witness some of our students from Loyola del Lago, and I would like to invite you up right now. As you know, Loyola del Lago, our Spanish immersion school, started in the fall of 2014 with kindergartners. And tonight, I'm going to give over the stage to our fifth graders who have a whole lot to share with us.
Good evening, board. Dr. Stallo, it's a pleasure to be here. As Dr. Stallo just shared, Loyola del Lago opened its doors to students in the fall of 2014 with kindergarten students only. Since then, we've added a grade level each year. We are now a full K-5 elementary school with over 400 students. Beginning in kindergarten, students are immersed in the Spanish immersion language in all content areas. Once they hit once they hit kind of the middle elementary schools, they add a little more English. By the time they're in 5th grade, it's about a 50-50 English and Spanish. We are also working on middle school transition planning for our 5th graders here to have some middle school immersion classes that will continue for grades 6, 7, and 8. So tonight we're here to highlight our pioneer group, our inaugural group. What you see in front of me is all 5th graders. I could sit and talk about what it's like to be at Loyola Del Lago, but what better way to hear it from our students? So they've prepared, in their own words, what it means to be an immersion learner, some of their favorite parts about school. They're going to read the first part in Spanish, and then they'll do it in English so that everybody else can understand. But they're excited. They've been practicing hard. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to this awesome group of 5th graders.
Hola, me llamo Marina Sofía Rimblas y yo quiero hablar de maestros y maestras. Cuando me llegué por la primera vez, tenía tanto miedo, pero cuando me conocí con señora Pérez, señor Kuczynski, Claudia, Mancia y un interno Iván de primer grado, era como maestros, eran mis amigos también. Me encantan los maestros. Hi, my name is Marina Sofia Rimblas, and I'm going to talk about teachers. When I first got to Loyola Del Lago, I was pretty scared. But once I met Perez, Senator Kuczynski, Claudia, Mancia, Ivan, an intern from 1st grade, it was like my teachers were my friends too. I love my teachers.
Hola, me llamo Xavier. Voy a hablar de por qué me gusta ser bilingüe. Me gusta ser bilingüe porque puedo hablar con personas de otros países. También porque puedo ayudar a las personas que hablan español y no inglés. Hello, my name's Xavier. I like to be bilingual because I can speak with people from other countries. Also because I can help people who can only speak Spanish and not English.
Hello, my name is Mason. Hola, me llamo Mason y me voy a hablar acerca de mis amigos. Unos son John, Henry y puedo nombrar más, pero somos diferentes. Podemos hablar en inglés y español. Yo quiero seguir estudiando en la secundaria con mis amigos. Gracias. Hola, hello, my name is Mason. I am here to talk about my friends. Some of them are John, Henry, and I could list more, but we are different from other kids because we can talk in English, we can talk to each other in English or Spanish. I'm looking forward to the middles and beyond with my friends. Thank you.
Hola. Hola, me llamo Eleanor y estoy en 5º grado. Yo voy a contarte cómo nuestra escuela ha cambiado por los años. Nuestra escuela es genial ahora, pero está mejorando cada día. Mi primer día de escuela en Loyola Del Lago fue muy diferente que escuela hoy en día. Ahora tenemos más libros en niveles más avanzados y otras cosas importantes en el salón. Los maestros saben más sobre cómo enseñar niños bilingües también. Gracias por escuchar. Hello, my name is Eleanor and I am in 5th grade. I am going to talk about how our school has changed over the years. Our school is great right now, but is getting better every day. On my first day of school here at Loyola Del Lago was very different from days at school today. Now we have more books and harder levels and other things that are important in the classroom. The teachers now have better guidelines on how to teach bilingual kids too. Thank you for listening.
Hola, me llamo Maya y yo soy de 5º grado. Voy a decirte de todos los excelentes internos que tenemos. Diferentes internos de todo el mundo van a Loyola Del Lago para explicar su cultura y ayudar a las maestras. Cada interno y maestra me enseñó diferentes cosas que necesito recordar en el futuro. Soy muy feliz que puedo saber todas estas diferentes culturas. Hello, My name is Maya, and I'm from 5th grade. I'm going to tell you about all the excellent interns we have. Different interns from all around the world explain their cultures and help the teachers. The teachers are also come from all around the world and are very nice. Every intern and teacher have taught me different things I need to remember in the future. I'm very happy I get to learn all these different cultures. Thank you for listening.
You guys did it. Woohoo! They've been working very hard. One of the amazing things about being an elementary educator is we get to see these kids from the time they enter kindergarten up until they leave us in 5th grade. So with this first group, I feel very close to this group because I remember all your first day of kindergarten, and now you're big and going to middle school. So, well, not yet, but next year. So.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. You did a great job. You're learning. You know, I remember coming to Lola del Lago on that first day of kindergarten, where students are not speaking at all Spanish. And now to hear you and to know your growth over the years has been fantastic. Thank you for being here, Richie. Thank you for your leadership and for the leadership of your entire staff. It's a great job. Thank you very much. What a hand for these amazing students.
Okay, we have no personnel items this evening, so we'll move on to unfinished business, the facilities planning and construction, the Greenwood Design Board approval, and then advertising for bids.
All right. Good evening, Chair Shimmick, members of the board, Dr. Stallo. Jim Delwo and I are here tonight to give a update on facilities planning and construction. Seems like it's been a while since we've been here talking about design teamwork, and it kind of has. We've been more, not so much me, but I know Jim, operations staff, buildings and grounds, Nexus has been more boots on the ground, and really our updates have been more about the construction that's happening and progress updates. We're here tonight to kind of we're sort of on the last leg of our design tour with Greenwood, so we're happy to present that to you this evening. And then ultimately seeking action on the board plans for Greenwood and then moving to advertise for bid. So before we get too much further, we're going to bring this back and talk about this is how we've been tracking our projects internally relative to the bid packs, when it goes to the FLRP committee meetings, to the board approved, all of the different components to advertising for bid, the opening, accepting bids, project construction beginning and completion. And so we're certain the goal here is as we complete these tasks, the shaded or grayed components become more bold. And we're certainly toward the right of this grid, but you see at the bottom the Greenwood remodeling portions of those phases and moving forward. And just really in sync with with the other projects that we have. So with that, we're going to segue right into Greenwood, Lola del Lago, and community education. So here's an aerial of Greenwood Elementary. Again, some of the things that you're going to notice here is, and I think a lot of work on the outside with the playgroundscape.
Playground. The stack will be coming down at Greenwood too. It'll no longer be necessary. So kind of a landmark for the neighborhood. It'll be gone. And we also have chimney swifts in there, and they're gonna have to find a new home.
One of the areas that we've been talking a lot about is looking at the media center in this area and really looking to open it up. Looking at media centers that are very similar to what we have in the other schools in our district. If you go into Greenwood, you see an area that it does get closed off. And this is a way to build in some resource space and really revitalize Grainwood. And so we have some renderings where as you walk in, we see an open space for collaboration, resource. Could also be before and after school meetings as well, but certainly much more open. And it also brings this building in line with some of the other spaces that all of our other buildings in the district have. Again, open spaces, breakout spaces for learning, small whole group instruction. This is from the window side of the media center looking out. Again, we will have bookshelves in here. It just doesn't show that here, but again, you see areas for flexible furniture, looking at mobile solutions for technology, but again, flexible space and designed to be used for media instruction as well as classes doing whole group, small group instruction as well. We do have one renovation going on in the other part of the building, is adding a kindergarten classroom. Currently the space that's there are two smaller rooms, removing a wall in the middle, making that a full kindergarten classroom, so that this would become a 4-section kindergarten school. And again, it's right next to the other 3 kindergarten rooms with restroom facilities. Proximity, it's a very good space for kindergarten. And again, being able to afford some light in there as well as students together with other kindergarten students. I'm going to have you talk about the kitchen, cafeteria, receiving, boiler room renovation. Sure. This is the large portion of this project.
So like Jeff said, this is primarily a mechanical renovation. I mean, that's what it actually was designed originally. We have added some key features with the media center, community ed. The boilers that we've been kind of nursing along since I've been here for 12 years, we're going to get rid of those. Add on to the cafeteria and make the flow for the servery better. It's a small cafeteria, just like many of the older buildings, along with the receiving. And we are moving the boiler room upstairs now instead of in the basement. They're smaller boilers. Really will be a nice add for us to have them on main level instead of in the dungeon.
Should be our goal most any time,
Yes.
get things out of a dungeon.
Yes.
This is a internal rendering of the cafeteria. You see again the additional space, but also you see more windows added along the top, some ceiling clouds coming down, making a much more comfortable space for students to eat. The thing that's missing here is kitchen, serving cases, and in the area. Oops, excuse me, in the area where the students are off to the side, students would come in, receive their meals, come in to sit down. Again, a much more pleasant space than what it is right now with more windows and then also circulation coming in and out. Also, just talking about opportunities for before and after school meetings, events, besides this, and the media center being able to do those things for stakeholders at Grainwood. And then also a portion of the space being used for community education, office renovation. Again, looking at the DSC, we are out of space here and looking for ways that we need to maximize the services that we're offering stakeholders. We did talk, and they're having a space for community education out of Grainwood as well. And so, as you see from the, I guess it's the would be the northwest side? Southwest side.
Southwest side, yeah.
We're looking at putting in a path for a new community entrance for community education. And then in this area, new office space, a classroom space, conference room space, and a small classroom space. Again, forecasting how are they serving the community now in the space they have here, but as we've grown at the DSC and in district services, space has also been given up in a lot of areas, and so they're able to offer classes usually before and after school, but during the day, not so much. I mean, they're not able to offer all of the different things that a community our size would need for stakeholders. And so the space that's being designed for them will really afford for growth and also give them the opportunity to look at offering things during the day, because it will be dedicated space for community education purposes.
Can I add?
Yes.
Just a couple of things to add too, is that we will have a secure entrance in this building too, so that we're not going to mix public with school children. The other key feature of this is that we are adding restrooms to nearby the community ed space. It'll also be for community ed use and staff. This building is sorely short in restroom facilities.
Here's a closer look at that office area. Private offices as well as mobile furniture options. Again, you can see restroom facilities, conference room, classroom. And again, it's providing space really to offer programs for the community. I think too, when you think about school districts, it's a birth to earth concept, providing learners and stakeholders with options that they can engage in at anywhere in their life. 3D or cross section. So with that, that's the overview, and I think the other component too is new carpeting.
New carpeting, we're going to repurpose lockers from the high school, new ceiling, reflected ceiling throughout the building, so it'll be a fresh building when we're done. It's old and tired, and we're not going to get it all, but we're going to get a head start.
It's an old building, you're right.
Yeah, 1951.
Yeah, and it's gone through its own changes over
Yeah,
the
but
years.
it's a great
so-
building.
And done well with it, so.
Yeah.
And this all went through FLIRP a couple weeks ago, and have their approval. So does anyone have any other questions? Mary?
I had one question. Was Greenwood one of the buildings where we still had asbestos?
We do have some asbestos at Greenwood too, and that's part of our plan, is to abate the asbestos.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we're looking for approval. Do I have a motion to approve the new design and renovation of Greenwood?
So made.
By Mary, second.
Second.
By Enrique. Comments or questions? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 4-0. Thank you for your work on that. And we'll move on to advertising for bids.
Great. Could I add one more thing about design before we get to the advertisement? There's two people I want to thank
Oh,
that
sure.
were way in the background, but essential. Joan Heisey, Jeff's assistant, really helped organized, and a lot of meetings, a lot of wrangling, and she held it together pretty well. And Paul Haddon on the mechanical side, really in deep and making sure that whatever we do put in works and can be maintained. So,
Great,
thank you.
thanks.
Before you, I have advertisement permission to advertise for bids. We're looking at a bid date of Tuesday, November 22nd. We're ready to, with your approval, get this to the paper, so it'll run on the 9th and the, yeah. Again, with the bid opening on Tuesday, November 22nd. We will have a pre-bid conference on Monday, the 18th, to help address any questions or concerns from contractors.
Okay, do I have a motion to move forward with the advertising of bids?
So moved.
By Michael, second?
Second.
I didn't hear this. Mary, did you say second?
Second.
Any comments or questions?
I just wanted to check that date. I think that you said Tuesday, November 22nd?
26th.
26th. Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry
Sorry, I
if I-
heard you wrong.
I probably said it wrong.
Any other comments or questions? Go for it.
Thank you very much.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 4-0. Now we'll move on to new business, budget enrollment. Julie Sink.
Good evening, Chair Schimick, Dr. Stallo, board members. Tonight, we're just going to do a short review of the final budget and projections for the current year of 2019-20. As you know, we're always looking to align our resources with our strategic directions, and you can see those listed there. We've discussed those, and we discuss them as an admin team as well when we're developing the budget. This slide shows what we had projected as enrollment for the preliminary budget that the board approved in June. And you can see that we estimated 8,988 students in the district with an additional 68 pupil units from our early childhood special education. What we actually are revising at this time is for 8,800 students, an additional 68 from ECSE. And you can see where those changes are in green compared to where they were last year, or not last year, last June. And also in green, you can see the differences from what we projected based on 8,988 students to the 8,800 students. And so our revenue based on 50 additional students is $1,638,377, and that includes 2% general education formula increase from the state of Minnesota, or $126 per pupil unit. I do want to say that that portion of the gen ed aid is only about 60% of our total revenue. So when you talk about 2%, it's not on all the revenue we get from for our students. It's only on the general education aid. And so that a lot of people misunderstand and think that that's on the whole amount of revenue that the district receives from the state, and it is not. It's only on that portion. We are showing a slight decrease in the amount of special ed revenue because our student population is not as high. There is a change in the Aspen transportation revenue, and that is an increase. And then the other funding sources remain the same. So our total revenue projection is $2,311,105 based on the 50 students. We do have some reductions that we were able to look at as far as staffing needs from the district. And so we only hired 4.7 of the regular education teaching staff, and we have delayed hiring some of the additional custodial staff. So we have about a $300,000 savings there. Our negotiation settlements came in up and higher of about $850,000. So that is an additional expense. And on this page, we are looking at also reallocating our other post-employment benefits. So that expenditure comes from Fund 25 instead of the general fund. And we are able to do that because we do have a fund balance in Fund 25 for this purpose. So all total expenditures are $5,449,570. So our fund balance is estimated. We have a fund balance policy of between 8 and 12%. Our fund balance, if all of these things occur, would be estimated to be 11.15. So we're still within our fund balance policy at this point. Any questions?
I'd just like to comment that we went through this in a lot more detail at the work session 2 weeks ago. So I asked Julie if she'd bring it forward in front of the camera to just get an overview. So I don't know if anyone has any questions now. It'll come back again at the work session on the 18th of November. So, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Julie.
Okay, we'll move on to American Education Week recognition. That is November 18th to the 22nd. I believe Martha has a sign-up sheet for us that we can pass around. And she also sent an email to sign up for the visits. And make sure you get that connected with Martha so that she can let the principals know that we're coming to visit that week. And I will read the proclamation. Whereas public schools are the backbone of our democracy, providing young people with the tools they'll need to maintain our nation's precious values of freedom, civility, and equality, and whereas by equipping young Americans with both practical skills and broader intellectual abilities, schools give them hope for and access to a productive future, and whereas education employees, be they custodians or teachers, administrators or clerical staff, bus drivers or librarians, cooks or support staff, work tirelessly to serve our children and communities with care and professionalism. And whereas our district, the community hub bringing together adults and children, educators and volunteers, business leaders and elected officials in a common enterprise, now therefore the Prior Lake Savage Area School Board of Education does hereby proclaim November 18th to the 22nd, 2019 as the 98th annual observance of American Education Week. I didn't know it would have been that long.
Great.
Now we'll move on to policy. These policies were presented to us at the October work session. They're coming for a second reading. And we can take them individually or as a group.
I'll make a motion to take all three as a group.
Okay, you're making the motion.
To approve the policies.
201, 202, and 202.1.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Enrique, second. I guess at this point, I'm going to ask for a little bit of input from our student representative on the board for policy 202.1.
Yeah, definitely. So after reading it over, I thought that a lot of it looked pretty routine and looked good. The one thing that I was just talking with Dr. Stallo about that I thought, I don't know how to implement it or if you would add it to it, that in the future, near future, we plan to create a student advisory board to have direct relation with Dr. Stallo and just with the rest of the school board. And so hopefully moving forward, the rest of the student representatives who follow after me will continue that on. And so I don't know if the board would want to take that into consideration into adding. I don't know if there's anything, I don't know how you would go about that, but that's just the one little piece of input that I would like to kind of put out there that we've been talking about, and we're working on communication in between. So yeah.
I think the board would be interested in that group. We always love to hear from the students, so that might be in our protocols. But as you develop that program, we can certainly look at this policy again and see if it's appropriate to have it listed in the policy. But otherwise, as such, you're comfortable with it? Okay.
Definitely.
This is a unique policy. Not every school board in the state has a student rep on their council or on their board, so we're happy to have you here. So that's great. Any other comments? Mary. Terry.
I would just like to echo that this is a unique policy and that we really are grateful to have the boards before us, and some of you set this policy to ensure that we have student representation on the board. We get oftentimes other school districts that don't yet have a student representative to the board reach out to us and other districts that do have this. So we've shared this policy many times. We also had a few years ago our student representative to the board do a presentation at the Minnesota School Board Association. So also opportunities for leadership that we can continue to look at for Isabel and other students of ours.
Any other comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That motion carries 5-0. Welcome, Stacy.
Thank you.
We'll move on to administrative reports. Dr. Stallo?
Thank you very much. At Prior Lake Savage Area Schools, our mission is to educate all learners to reach their full potential as contributing and productive members of our ever-changing global community. And tonight, I'd like to highlight some of the work in which we've been engaged to reach that mission. First, I want to talk about personalized flex learning days. Since board approval of the personalized flex learning days last month, we've been working to communicate with staff and families regarding how these days will work and staff and student expectations, and also letting our stakeholders know that we'll collect feedback after that first day, should there be an inclement weather or personalized learning day called. We're excited about launching this and learning from one another as we continue to do this. Jim Delwo at Marine Mullen and I had a chance to meet with our bus owners today, and knock on wood, we just talked about, you know, how nice it would be if our winter was a little bit more mild than last year. But we meet with them yearly also just to review our protocols and processes and to make sure that from both the owners, bus owners' perspective and ours, the work that we do is going well. As you also know, our strategic plan calls us to provide a safe, secure, and supportive environment that nurtures the social and emotional well-being of all learners. We take this direction seriously, which is why we've spent the last several months putting a plan together to safely reunite students with their parents and guardians should we encounter an emergency situation. We spent the month of October training staff, and we had a team internally that trained, as well as Joe McCall, who has been working with us on this work. And I believe at the last count, we've held 19 different trainings for our staff across the district. So we've got a team of administrators. Joan Heisey also has assisted with that, that have trained our staff. So it's been really impressive. Last Friday, I communicated with families about the protocols, and that information can also be found on our website. I also want to share a little bit. We talk a lot about personalized learning with students, and I just wanted to share a little bit about our last professional development day that really highlighted the opportunity for our staff to do some personalized learning. On October 21st, more than 600 certified staff gathered at Prior Lake High School for a morning of professional learning, which was focused on how staff can better provide and promote personalized learning for students. The teaching and learning team used input gathered from teachers' learner profiles and other surveys to guide the session options. More than 50 of our talented teachers and administrators led sessions and facilitated their colleagues' learning. Results of a brief evaluation demonstrated a huge success from those who shared their experience, and I just want to share a little bit of data with you. Of those who completed the survey, 92.6% of staff said or agreed or strongly agreed to, I appreciate the choice and range of sessions offered on the morning of October 21st. And 91.7% said or agreed or highly agreed to, I have an opportunity to collaborate with and from my colleagues. And also 93.6% agreed or highly agreed with my learning on October 21st will improve my practice. And that's exactly what we want. We want to empower teachers to help lead and collaborate with one another in order to improve the work that they do every day to ensure that our kids are learning every day. And lastly, I just want to celebrate again our grand opening from Bridges Area Learning Center, which was a huge success. We had more than 100 people in attendance. Thank you to all of you who were able to attend that. It was really amazing show of support from our community, from our staff, from students and parents and the board about this amazing program since its inception 10 years ago. After Dave Brown cut the ceremonial ribbon, guests toured the building and spoke to students and staff about the school. Moving forward, we'll be planning additional building events as new spaces come on board. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other administrative reports? Okay, board reports. Enrique?
Sure. All right. Well, I had the opportunity to visit Hidden Oaks on October 23rd. Went into the classroom in a variety of different classrooms, starting with the level 3 EBD, so emotional behavioral support classroom. Wonderful things going on there. Wonderful things. A lot of different children that are coming in and out for a variety of different support needs. And can't say enough good things about Miss St. Main and the work she's doing there to help build up these students and give them the tools that they need so that they can be successful and go back out into the classroom with the rest of the mainstream students and just really provide a great baseline for them. After that, I visited with Miss Shopper and her math class. Wow, dynamite teacher, dynamite experience. In that classroom, there were 24 students total, 17 with an IEP, 5 with a 504. So a variety of different needs even within that classroom to reach every single one of those learners. And yeah, she orchestrates very meticulously to reach every single one of them. My only regret is that I couldn't spend the entire day in that classroom and sit there and work with each one of those students because it was a joy. And then sat with Mrs. Bottomiller in one of her English classes as well, and just seeing how engaged each one of those students were was definitely a blessing. Got to see the new cafeteria space and spend a few minutes with my own kid while there. Guess that's the only place, well, other than getting mauled by her in the hallway, that's the only time I got to see her. But that new space is fantastic. So all of the work that went into getting the referendum passed, working through all of these different challenges along the way with construction. Wonderful job by Jim Dill. There you are. I see you. And staff was outstanding because they definitely appreciate the new spaces. Attended the high school marching band concert, which is why I wasn't here for the study session. I had to be the parent Uber for that day. Taking my student there for the marching band and seeing senior night, and it was quite something. When we think of co-curricular activities and how engaged students are and these new spaces, the entire stage was full of students. Entire stage, in front of the stage, the wings lining, the entire auditorium were filled with marching band students. And there still wasn't quite enough room to occupy for all of these students. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I also had a chance to go to the inaugural concert for the 7th grade band in the brand new space over at Tom's. And yeah, that was a great experience. You could still smell the fresh paint that was just applied maybe the night before. And I can't say enough positive things about Mr. Tuma and the work that he did to get that space ready. The late hours that he put into that space, and doing that on top of changing sets over at the high school to accommodate the marching band concert, and then reconfigure things so that they can go back to getting ready for Mamma Mia. So, tremendous work. One interesting observation while I was in the middle schools was that above the doors of the classrooms, a lot of them had signs that said cell phone free zone. And then there was some different signage within the classrooms spelling out kind of proper etiquette to utilize your device, make sure that you use it respectfully and whatnot. So I thought that was very neat. Not sure if it's time to think about a board policy on that front, or if the activities that are happening at the teacher and at the administration level is sufficient based off of what they're doing right now.
Mary?
Well, on that's a great lead-in. I attended the middle school curriculum night, and I'm very happy that this happened. I know a lot of parents were very happy to have the opportunity to meet with their teachers and go through what the curriculum in each one of the classrooms were. I followed 2 parents around, one 8th grader and one 6th grader, at their invite, and it was a wonderful experience. The teachers were very happy to have the opportunity to meet with the parents, and several of them commented that this saves a lot of time during parent-teacher conferences, and it was very worthwhile, and they very much hope it continues. It was also good to see the parents engage in each one of the classrooms and asking very detailed questions between what their kids say when they come home and what is the reality. So that helps a lot too, so that the parents can be better equipped to help support their kids and also help support the effort that the teachers go through to make sure rules are followed. Again, there was this overall excellent. I did, however, hear the cell phone issue come up repeatedly with the teachers as well as the parents, and several of them openly requested that something be done because lots of different methods are being put into place to manage that distraction. Not all of them are consistent, but all of them are definitely in line with trying to manage the distraction. So that was an interesting piece of feedback that was fairly consistent in each of the classrooms. I also attended 5 Hawks. I got to sit in on kindergarten, 1st grade, 5th grade, and then meet with several of the teachers as well as Tim Bell. That was an incredible experience, and I so much appreciated the real-life experience of actually sitting into a classroom and seeing what goes on. Although my experience was minimal, it was very, very helpful, and I hope to do that again with other schools, and I would encourage other board members to do that just like you did, Enrique, because it was just to sit there and observe and understand what the teachers, their environment, the kids, the class changing period, the different curriculums, et cetera, was incredibly helpful and very insightful. And again, everyone there was so passionate. It was just really, it was heartwarming to see. Also, MinCaps, the year is kicked off with a bang. I was honored to be a guest lecturer the week before last, I believe. And that was great. Started the mentoring season up and the new project season. And then I invited several Prior Lake students as well as MinCaps to a conference to learn how to network, understand STEM, and a few other things on Tuesday of last week. And then I attended the Southwest Metro fundraiser. I was the only representative from Prior Lake Savage out of the 11 districts. It was one of the largest fundraisers they had, and of course it was costume night. Last year they had a golf theme where you had to dress as a funny golf player. This year it was a Harry Potter theme. And I'm proud to say I won second in the costume contest, dressed up as Dobby the house elf, the freed house elf. Which was pretty fun to put that costume together. I got a lot of kick out of that one and had a lot of fun with it. So I appreciate Darren Kermes putting that on and Leslie Chester, who is the chair of the Southwest Metro. I think they had a record earning this year, which is fantastic. And again, it was fun to see even the superintendents dressed up as various Harry Potter characters. So that was quite a treat. And I also attended the ALC, the ribbon cutting, even though it had been open for some time. You know, and to say it's a wonderful facility is an understatement. To be thoroughly surprised and impressed with the students that were showing us around, they were incredibly articulate. They were very, very mature, and just their presentation with all those people there was a really good. It really just impressed upon me the wonderful work that the ALC does and how these kids appreciate it and actually just blossom there. So thank you to everyone who's been a part of the ALC, but also to Dave Brown for allowing that to happen. That was just. It was something that you just, I'm glad it's there, I'm glad it continues, and it was incredibly impressive.
I attended with Dr. Stallo the AMSC last Friday, and the speaker was, and I'm not going to get his title right, basically the chair of the higher education commissioner. Thank you. I was looking for the word. Commissioner of Higher Ed, so not the E12 Mary Ricker, but the extension. And so it was interesting to hear about their organization. They're a little bit smaller group of the state, but the type of work they're doing with really trying to connect the two between E12 into pathways for higher education and looking at various different tracks, not just, you know, college credits, but other avenues. So there's going to be continued work with that. He's kind of a pretty dynamic guy, has done a lot of work with the Indian schools in the state is where his background is. But so it's really kind of interesting to hear his background and to get his take on where things are going. And then I had a facilities tour on Thursday with Maureen and Jim, and just kind of wanted to run around and see the projects and how they're doing with weather and all kinds of stuff. And was thoroughly impressed. Toured Tom's and the high school and looked at Westwood and the cafeteria, looked at the new auditorium, which is beautiful, and then took a look at Hamilton Ridge and how they're doing there. But yeah, it was quick, but it was good. It was all encompassing. It's kind of amazing to see how much has gone on. And then I think lastly is we do have a community engagement meeting. I think this Wednesday. I don't know if you guys already talked about it, but so that's go.
All three of my committees meet this week, so I'll be looking forward to that. I do want to call out as a member of the Community Ed Advisory Committee, just to report back that the community Halloween party was hugely successful. It's the first time I participated, but they had 750 approximately kids alone, not counting family members who came with. And I just think that's a great example of the way we're engaging our community and getting families in who aren't even necessarily district families, and providing this opportunity outside of school hours. A really great relationship with the community. And I do want to call that staff out, because I know they work around the clock a lot, but this event is something to put on. They're there the night before, and they're there through cleanup after, and they have it down to a science. But they, special kudos to Leanne and Bobby and Jenny and everyone who puts that together. I was quite amazed to be a part of that. Very briefly, I'll echo that I also got to go with Dr. Stallo to the new inaugural performance of the middle school auditorium. And my introduction to the upper grades at the district was through band boosters when my now seniors were in 6th grade, and they were hurting back then and brainstorming and coming up with ideas. And what a thrill to sit in that finished performance center, or nearly finished. I know they have a punch list. Special thanks again to Jim and to Dave Tuma, who's not only working on Mamma Mia, but got that ready for those performances. That was a really special event. And then happened to be fortunate enough to be at Loyola Del Lago. I'll point out, since Senior Kuczynski is here, visiting my niece. I got time to visit with some of the teachers, see some incredible learning strategies taking place, visit with the students, and took some time to talk to the social worker there too about that social emotional piece and how critical that is. And I'm looking forward to doing more work in that area. So thank you.
Thank you. Future events. November 7th is the end of the first quarter. November 8th, there is no school. November 11th is Veterans Day. We have a board study session on November 18th. Thanksgiving break is November 27th to the 29th, and all buildings will be closed, so Jim can stay busy. Just a reminder again about American Education Week. If you'd please let Martha know, so that the principals know when we're coming into the buildings. It's a courtesy that they know that we're coming in, or ask if we can come in. It helps them be prepared for us coming. And to save the date for the Minnesota School Board Association's Leadership Conference, which is January 16th and 17th. I see no other business before us. I'll take a motion to adjourn into closed session.
So made.
By Stacy, second. By Mary. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 5-0. We're adjourned and going into closed session. Thank you.